Mm-hmm. Norwegian now has go-karting,
laser tag.
Yep. I think one of them has. Did Royal build like a trampoline thing on one of theirs? So like literally
zip lines.
Hello.
Hey guys, this is Dominic.
Welcome back to our channel. I'm Elizabeth.
And yes, welcome back. Today we are going to discuss with you 11 questions you should ask when you are first looking at booking a cruise.
Yes.
And why is this important?
Well, there's a lot of different cruises. There's different times of the year. There's different cruise lines. There are different itineraries. So depending on how active you want to be, how non-active you, there's just a lot of questions that'll help you make the best cruise for you.
As you can see, Freddie is back with us today.
We always got Freddie rocking it.
He was the old mascot for Carnival, but these questions actually should really...
Bring back Freddie. Bring back Freddie.
These questions, are kind of universal to all lines here. So, the first one is, what is my budget?
Yes.
Yes. Why is that important?
Well, because you have to be able to afford to go on said cruise.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't want to go into debt cruising.
No.
As tempting as that is, it's important. I mean, different cruise lines can range in price all over the board.
And yeah.
The time of the year that you go can change the price. The itinerary can change the price. So
and also your room type. So
yeah, room type too.
And actually, these are some of the questions we have here. So it's kind of a good lead in to the next question.
But you always want to get an idea, at least a general idea of what the max is that you want to spend. Number 2 is when you want to go on your cruise.
Yes, this is important because depending on when you go, it could, dictate how many people are on the ship. For example, like during the winter, there's less kids aboard, and like during the summer, there's more families and kids aboard.
It can also go right back to that number 1 budget question. If you're someone that has to go during spring break or go during the summer, go over Christmas break, your cruise is naturally going to be more expensive. So that might limit where you can go. Do you need to go to the Bahamas as opposed to going to like the Southern Caribbean, which would cost more? Or maybe you have to go on a 5-day cruise as opposed to 7-day cruise. So when you need to go is a very good start because that can affect how much you can spend.
Definitely. So the third question kind of leads into both question 1 and question 2 is, where should I go on my cruise? Now, cruises can go anywhere.
They can't. You can't cruise to Minnesota.
No, well, you could do a river cruise, but I mean, you have cruises in Alaska. You have cruises in the Mexican Riviera, also Canada, like the northeastern seaboard, and then also the Caribbean.
And then there's all of Europe. There's transatlantics, trans-Pacifics, Australian cruises. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah. So, I mean, that really depends on what you're willing to look at, what you're wanting to see, and what you want to experience.
Yep. And again, that can totally tie back into that big old budget question because different places cost different money. Different was bad English. But like in the Caribbean, you've got the Eastern, you got the Southern, you got the Western. The Southern is always going to be the most expensive. Well, most often, unless you're talking like a 6-day versus like a 10-day. Your Bahama cruises are typically going to be your cheapest. Or your West Coast cruises are usually fairly affordable as long as you're going to like the Mexican Riviera. Now, totally opposite, if you go up to Alaska, Alaska tends to be a little bit more expensive.
Because it's limited seasons.
And then Europe, you can actually get some really good deals on Europe prices, but then you have to take into factor the extra cost of getting over to Europe. Airfare tends to be more expensive. Airfare is another really big budget decider.
Yeah.
We cannot get cheap airfare to save our lives in Minnesota. It's just what we think is cheap, a lot of other people think is expensive.
Right. Like if we find a ticket for like $300 to $350 round trip, we book it, and then we have some friends who are like, "That's a lot," because they booked a flight round trip. Denny and Patty, if you're watching, we're talking about you. Round trip to Minneapolis from New York for like $120.
New Jersey. Actually, I think it was Philly.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between they live in New Jersey. They have like multitude of airports that they can fly out over. We have one, and we're a Delta hub, so Delta kind of monopolizes our airport.
Right.
So, anyways, take that into consideration of how much it's going to cost to get you to where you want to go, or where you live, where you want to sail out based on where you live. Because are you going to drive or are you going to fly? So on.
Right. So the next question, which is question number 4, is how should I pay for my cruise?
Well, preferably with money.
Well, yeah. But there are two options you can really do on your cruise. You can pay for your trip all up front at the beginning and just have the one single payment. Or you can manage your payment in installments. So most cruise lines require a deposit that you put down anywhere from...
I think all cruise lines require a deposit.
Yes. And then from there you can kind of budget as you go. So depending on how long you book out your cruise, we usually try to book 18 to 20 months out, so that way we can try to split up our payments a lot and kind of make it easier on the budget.
Do they actually do that very well?
We don't know.
Carnival, I don't know if all the cruise lines, but Carnival recently introduced an easy pay program where literally based on when you book your cruise, every month they'll just take out a percentage. So you have 12 months, they're going to divide the cruise by 12, or 12 months to the final payment. They're going to divide the cruise by 12, and every month that automatically will just come off of the credit card you used or debit card or whatnot. So that's a pretty new option for Carnival.
Yes.
But yep, you can pay how you want, up front or make installments.
Or you can just pay a deposit and then wait for about 2 weeks before final payment like we normally do, and then pay the rest of it off.
I don't think we do that. I get a bonus from work, which usually pays for our winter cruise, and then I tell him he's got to take care of the fall cruise.
Yeah.
Usually tax time.
Usually.
So, question number 5.
What is a group? Yeah, can't even talk.
Take two.
Take two. What is a good room type? Now, that's a hard question to answer because everyone has different preferences.
Yes. I like all rooms. If I'm on a cruise ship and I'm in a room, I'm a happy girl.
Yeah. It really depends on what you want to see.
Again, what's your budget?
What your budget is and what you want to experience. I mean, there are 4 main room types. There's an interior, an ocean view with balcony or just balcony. Some cruise lines call it different. They may say a veranda.
It's a balcony or a veranda.
And then there's also
suites. Now, certain cruise ships have different category suites, different category balconies. But those are your 4 basic categories.
Your 4 main categories.
Now, obviously, when you're in an inside room, it's small. There's no windows. Sometimes there's a fake window. So you have to take that into consideration. If you're claustrophobic, an inside room might not be for you.
If you like sleep, though, an inside room is really good.
Especially if you like to nap.
Those are like.
And as an adult, napping on cruise ships are wonderful to be able to take a nap. And in that, you turn off the light in that inside room at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to be pitch black.
Yes.
So it's also easy to sleep in the morning too, which can be a bad thing because then all of a sudden you roll over. I rolled over on one of my cruises one time and it was 11 o'clock in the morning and I was like, dang, I missed like 3 hours of my day.
Yeah.
Then there's the ocean view.
I'm
not affected. My ocean view rooms are fine, but to me, just having a window that I can just see out of, they pretty much all are because everything above them is balconies. On most of the newer ships, you're on deck 1 or 2.
1 or 2, maybe 3.
Some of the older ships, that's pretty much all you have is either ocean views or insides because they don't have balconies. it's not worth it, the extra money, just to get a window. To me, I'm either going to go cheap and get an inside room, or I'm going to spend a little bit extra and get a balcony room.
Right. And that leads us into the next category, which is balcony. Balcony is what it says. It's a room and it has a balcony.
They're definitely bigger typically than an inside room.
Yes.
Because they usually have like a couch or seating area in them.
And they are great if you want to just kind of wake up, go walk, sit, whatever, on the balcony and watch the ocean go by as you're sailing. And it's great to just kind of relax.
Yeah, they're amazing to have. Would I ever cruise only in a balcony? No, I'd much rather cruise more often in an inside room than cruise like once every couple of years in a balcony room. Again, it really ties down to the money you can spend.
Right.
I mean, I'm always going to want a balcony if I can afford it.
Right.
But if I can't afford it, I'm still going to want to go on that cruise. So I'm happy to be down in the dungeon in an inside room. I mean,
and the most inside rooms, at least the interior rooms, they go all the way up through the ship.
Yeah, so you can get them upstairs.
Right. And then we have the suite. Now, who doesn't want to have a suite? If I could book a suite, I would love to book a suite.
But I mean, if money was no object, but to me, it's just my personal preferences. I'm in my room to sleep and to get ready.
Yep.
I don't need a couch and a living room and a big fancy TV and a walk-in closet. They're great to have, and more power to people if that's what they want. It's everybody's cruise should be what they want. It's just.
If you want more space, I mean, if you're like a family of 4 or 5.
Oh, I can totally understand if you have like 4 or 5 people in your room needing the extra space. But.
Right. As far as cost is concerned, usually it goes the lowest or the cheapest is usually an interior, and it goes to the most expensive, which would be a suite. So really, again, depending on your budget, you just kind of try to pick what works best for you and what you want to experience.
Yeah, and it can depend where you're going too. Like when we went to the Med, I said there's no way I'm going to the Mediterranean without having a balcony. I was going to go to Alaska. I would absolutely never sail to Alaska without a balcony because I want to be able to see the scenery as we're sailing by. So those are just decision questions you have to ask yourself.
Yep. Next question. What's included in the cost of my cruise?
Again, this can vary slightly from cruise line, and we have no experience personally with anything besides Carnival.
No.
Now, being that he's a travel agent, we obviously know a lot of people that have sailed on other cruise lines. But basic cruise fares across most lines, it's going to include your accommodations, meals in the dining room or at the buffet, your entertainment for the most part. I think all entertainment is included. Your shows at night, your comedy theater shows. Some cruise lines do have like dinner theaters that cost extra and stuff like that. What else is included in the main food? Like juice, pop, water, coffee. Not pop, sorry.
Juice,
take that
water,
back.
And coffee.
Yep, lemonade.
You're right. Just the basics of beverages are included. If you want to do pop or alcohol, it's usually extra.
Soda.
Or
Coke.
Soda, Coke, depending on where you live. Call it what you want, but we call it pop in Minnesota.
So what else is included?
That's about it,
That's
really.
The basic stuff. So you're going to get your entertainment and obviously your transportation from island to island.
Yes. And depending on the line, some lines have packages that they will sell like a unlimited beverage package or anything like that you can add. But
specialty dining. Or that's your basic fare that's included.
Exactly. So, now that we covered all this, you might be wondering what cruise line is best for me. Now, this is a complicated question to ask.
I don't think we'd be here for 2 hours trying to answer this question.
So I'm just going to basically sum it up as really depending on what you're looking for. A lot of cruise lines over the years have kind of morphed or developed into having their own identities. Carnival, a lot of people say, identifies with a more fun, family-friendly crowd. Royal Caribbean.
I think Royal Caribbean's right along those same lines.
It'll be right about the
same.
I
think Royal, Norwegian, Carnival, they're all pretty similar.
Right. There's just different nuances for them. Like Norwegian, they don't have...
They're the freestyle.
They call it freestyle dining, where they don't have like a set time, or traditional times that you go to dinner. You just come and go as you... Freestyle. Come as you want, go as you want. And there's really no requirement for dress either.
Yeah. I say if you're a family, you're going to want to look at one of those 3 cruise lines. There's obviously Disney. Disney obviously is going to be Disney. I mean, if you have kids, they're going to have an amazing time at Disney. Even adults have amazing time at Disney. But I will tell you, it'll come with a price. Yeah. You are going to pay for that Disney cruise.
Yes.
Now, everybody that I've not met one person that hasn't gone on Disney and said it's been one of the most amazing cruises of their life. You just have to be willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. And then there's other lines out there that may be owned by our lines that might be a little bit more upscale. But, you just kind of got to...
I mean, if you're a couple and you don't want a lot of kids around, you might want to look at something like Holland America.
Or Princess, or Celebrity.
Canard. So, I mean, you can go, and then your smaller cruise lines, like your Silver Seas, not Norwegian,
Regent.
Vikings,
Esmeralda.
Regent. They're going to be a lot more tailored to
upscale.
A lot of them come with like personal butlers and stuff like that.
Right.
And if you truly have no idea what you want to do, talk to cruisers, talk to people that have cruised before, find a travel agent, because they're going to be able to kind of talk to you, get what you're looking for, and give you your best advice.
That kind of leads into our next question, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
Yeah. Next question is, how should I book my cruise? I'm going to let you answer this one because I might be a little bit biased. So.
Well, there are, I would say, 3 main ways you can book a cruise. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe 4.
3.
Well, kind of 4. But we'll say 3 main ways. You can book it yourself, which I've done numerous times. Pre-DL cruise travel. Mm-hmm. You can contact the cruise line and use, Carnival calls them personal vacation planners. Every cruise line will have them. They're agents that work for the cruise line, and they'll book the cruise for you.
They're like a travel agent.
They're like a travel agent that works for the cruise line. And then there's travel agents,
woohoo,
which would be like you contacting DL Cruise Travel and saying, hey, I want to go on a cruise.
Or Cruise Mom Cruises.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can also, I've heard that you can do cruises through like Expedia and stuff like that, but just like booking hotels through them.
Was that the 4th?
Yes.
Okay.
I've heard good things, I've heard bad things. I would say do what you feel most comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Travel agents obviously are good if you have no idea what you're doing, what you want to do. If you know exactly what you're doing and you'd rather just control the booking yourself, book it yourself. Mm-hmm. I do think that a myth that a lot of people have about travel agents is that it costs more to book through a travel agent. You pay nothing extra if you book through a travel agent.
Nope.
They're just there to help you do the work. They can check for price reductions. Yep. So just go into thinking of that is that a lot of people just assume that you pay a fee to use a travel agent, and really it's just the cruise line pays that travel agent a percentage of their commission.
Right. So, but I would suggest that you go with go with what's comfortable here for you. If you know a travel agent and you're comfortable try to get to know your travel agent if you go that way, and that way you can get a feel for them first, just to be comfortable with them. Like Elizabeth said, they're there to work with you, and if you have a good PVP or a vacation planner through the cruise line as well, they will do the same. So it's all really based on your preference. I would recommend a travel agent myself, but like again, I said, I'm biased, so.
All right, the next question is, what documentation do I need? And this is a really important question.
It is a really important question.
Because the last thing you want to do is show up at that port on a cruise that you've been waiting for months to go on and not being able to get on the ship because you didn't bring the right documentation.
Mm-hmm. Usually, you only really need a birth certificate and a government-issued ID.
And
like
that's
a driver's
for
license.
cruises leaving from the United States.
And
obviously, if you're going to Europe, you need a passport.
Right. But I would recommend is traveling with a passport, even if you don't need it. It's.
In reality is, if something happens and you're in that island and you miss that cruise ship, you can't get back into the United States with a birth certificate and an ID. You're gonna, unless obviously if you're in Puerto Rico or you're in St. Thomas, but you're gonna need a passport. And it's just it's easy. You don't have to worry about having the right birth certificate because You've got to have the right kind of birth certificate. Like, it can't be the hospital birth certificate. It's got to be the official birth certificate or a certified copy of the birth certificate.
Actually, they're taking away that certified copy part. But
oh, well.
Yeah.
But, and it's just, and that is, what's the age? Is that for anybody over the age of 16?
I can't remember.
Way to go, Mr. Travel Agent.
Well,
we'll look it up and we'll insert it down here. Because that's important to know what you need for your kids. Another big thing, speaking of kids, if you are a parent, maybe you're a divorced couple or whatnot, or you're just one parent is traveling with a kid, sometimes you need to have like a signed letter from the other parent giving you permission to take the kid out of the country. So it's important if you have special circumstances to really connect with the cruise ship and make sure you've got the right documentation.
Usually you can find those questions on their frequently asked questions page. So
another big faux pas that I hear a lot of happening is honeymooners. If you book the cruise in your maiden name, keep your documents in your maiden name until after the cruise, or vice versa. If you're going to get married on October 1st and go on a cruise on October 5th, you're not going to have a passport with your new married name and stuff on it. So book that cruise in your maiden name.
Or just bring a copy of your marriage license.
Or you can, but even so, like that's quick. If you're on your honeymoon, I would just say just keep everything in your maiden name, unless your honeymoon's like 6 months down the road. Mm-hmm. So, what's next on our list?
This is a good question. Do I need anything extra?
That's a very broad question.
It is a very broad question.
What do you mean exactly by that question?
Oh, well, I guess I was looking at, I don't know, anything extra, I guess, would be like extra spending money. Yes, because you will want to buy souvenirs. So you do definitely want to bring extra cash with you. I mean,
and that's up to you how much you want to spend. Again,
right.
Budget.
Right.
You won't use cash on the ship, or very little of it.
Nope.
Cruises are cashless systems, essentially. So you'll attach either cash or a credit card to your ship card, your room card, and that's what you'll use to pay for things on board.
Yes.
But in the islands, obviously, they're not going to accept your cruise card. So if you want to shop in the islands, you're going to want some cash or a credit card or something.
But again, it's based on your budget, so,
And then anything other extra. I mean, there's a lot of extra things. I mean, you're going to need clothes.
Oh, right.
So I guess I don't really totally know what this question means.
Well, just, do I need anything extra? So, extra cash, yes.
You're going on vacation, you need cash.
Well, you're going on vacation, they need clothes too.
I know.
All right.
It's just an odd question.
All right, so the last question we have is question number 11. So we decided to buck the trend. Instead of doing even numbers, we're going odd. Is what is there to do on the ship?
Oh my gosh.
There's plenty of things to do on the ship.
And it totally varies from ship to ship.
Yes.
Which is another good thing to look at when you're trying to decide what ship to book on.
Or what line.
I mean, there are water slides, rope courses,
rock walls, golf courses,
slides, golf, mini golf.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Norwegian now has go-karting.
Go-karting, laser tag.
Yep. I think one of them has. Did Royal build like a trampoline?
Yeah,
thing on one of theirs. So like literally.
Zip lines. Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing about going back to the Disney cruise thing. Is if you have kids that are young enough that they're into like the fairy princesses and the Marvel characters and stuff like that, that's great. But they really, in my opinion, don't have as much activities as some of the other family mainstream cruise lines do. I mean, they have water slides.
And if we're wrong, just leave a comment.
And they have mini golf.
From what we've seen.
But I don't know that any of them have rope courses, go-karting, trampolines. Mm-hmm. So, just keep it in mind. I mean, Disney, great. The dream is to go on a Disney cruise. It's not necessarily that it's the best line, especially if you have older kids. So just keep it in mind.
Yes.
And then your other cruise ships, like your Holland America, your Princess is kind of right in the middle. Your smaller cruise lines, your Silver Sea, your Regents, they're not going to have anywhere near as much activity for like kids like that.
Right.
Now most of them, or at least the mainstream cruise lines, will have trivia. Bingo. Most of them, minus Disney, have casinos.
Yes.
Lots and lots of bars.
Yeah.
Drinking's your thing.
Comedy clubs,
piano bars, nightclubs, spas, gyms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pools. I mean, there's loads and loads and loads and loads of activities.
Hot tubs.
And that's the great thing about cruising.
Yes.
You can tailor it to what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
My first couple of cruises that I went on, I was like 21 years old. I got up at 8 in the morning. I laid out in the sun until 5 o'clock at night, went to dinner, drank, and went back to bed and did it all over again. I mean, I didn't do any of the activities. I relaxed, and I relaxed hard. And you can literally go on a cruise and do nothing, or you can go on a cruise and get involved in everything.
And try to do as much as you want. Yeah.
So it's really up to you what you want to do.
Yeah. So, that is our 11 questions that a first-time cruiser should ask before booking a cruise.
Any other advice, leave a comment below.
And we will, hopefully, if we have enough comments, maybe we'll make a follow-up video and answer those questions. So, if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up.
Subscribe to the channel.
And you can find us on Facebook at DL Cruise Travel.
And until next time,
have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.